Welcome along in, everybody, to the Red Card Radio News episode. This is hopefully the only place, your one-stop shop that you need to come for news relating to the Premier League and any of the surrounding competitions that English teams are involved with. My name is James. I support Arsenal. That's Sean. He supports Tottenham. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So what we're going to tackle tonight. We alluded to this yesterday about a manager replacement in England. We're going to kind of do a quick manager recap because they, of course, have hired somebody. We'll give you a rundown of what's going on in the Champions League, the Europa League. I forgot what it was called for a second. Got a quick F1 update.
You're in that. You're in that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Quick F1 update, quick chess update. But before we do any of that, we've got some comments to address from last week. But first, if you could hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Give us a follow if you are finding us on a podcast site. Leave a comment down below, letting us know what you think about the Champions League, the Europa League, or whatever we talk about, F1, chess, whatever we mentioned tonight. Definitely interact with us because we would love to hear from you. With that being said, comments. So, couple comments. First, big shout out to Jimmy. So Jimmy did the challenge last week where we were talking about the awards. I told everyone to pause the video and then predict who they thought would win. And Jimmy was very close on a lot of them. I think had he known what the stupid way that France Football awards the team of the year, he picked Real Madrid because they won the Champions League, which makes a lot of sense. But it was actually City because they had the most number of people nominated for the Ballon d'Or. It's stupid.
It's dumb.
The whole thing is dumb. But he got everybody else right except for Striker of the Year because he picked Benzema to be the Striker of the Year over Lewandowski.
Which would be logical, but we don't have logic around here.
Precisely. He also picked Haaland to be Young Player of the Year, but I think Haaland's too old, so I don't blame him for that.
He's got to be like 23, 22, 23, 24, somewhere around there.
I feel like 23 feels right for Erling Haaland, but I don't know off the top of my head. You have to be 21 or under, so... all right, but big
Speaking of 23, he's going to have 23 by the weekend.
Yeah, probably. Well, who do they have this weekend?
He's actually probably already has 23 goals because he scored. Oh no, that goal was brought back. But he has 20 goals on the season already.
Yeah. They've got Leicester this weekend, so that could be a bloodbath.
Heung-min Son hat trick.
True. Didn't. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, yeah. No. Okay. It's true. All right. So Zach hit us up because we did have this conversation about Brighton last week when we were mentioning, should they be concerned about their position, things like that. And Zach hit us up and he said Newcastle poached Dan Ashworth away from them in the winter, so January last. Chelsea took their recruitment director along with Potter. Brighton have had to abruptly replace 3 leading voices in the last 7 to 8 months. Not an enviable situation. Some of the guys they brought in aren't really favored by De Zerbi, and he's still De Zerbi's still trying to figure out his strongest 11 is and what the fit should be. So he kind of brings up this analogy, like how do you kill a snake? By cutting off its head. He kind of getting this vibe from what's going on in Brighton. Zach's ultimate conclusion is that they shouldn't be thinking about Europe at all. They need to just avoid getting dragged into the survival from the bottom. And I kind of think it's a pretty apt way to look at it for Brighton right now. Not the reading I get off the analogy about how do you kill a snake by cutting off its head that he uses here is that I don't know if it's necessarily a concerted effort by the other bigger teams in England to like make sure that this upstart Brighton doesn't continue to succeed, but it is just these guys are really succeeding. They're doing well. They have a good model, and the other clubs want to emulate that as best they can. And recruitment is going to be huge for Newcastle. And what did we say yesterday about Newcastle? Their recruitment has been sublime so far. They've spent money super wisely. And that's going to be key to their success growing.
Yeah, like we did talk about that on last episode. Is that they have spent $200 million, but it's been a wise $200 million. They've got a lot of players for that.
Yeah,
and quality players. And I think Tottenham need to address our situation in a similar vein, honestly, of we don't need to go get, we don't need to go get the best player available. We don't need to go get Erling Haaland. We need to go get players that make sense for a reasonable price.
I mean,
And that's what Newcastle has done. I mean, they picked up Trippier for like 15-20 million dollars.
yeah.
He's probably easily in the top five in right backs in the Premier League.
Oh,
I would say that easily.
certainly in the Premier League, I would give you that.
He's top five in the Premier League, and you got him for 15-20 million dollars. That's a smart purchase. That's a very smart purchase.
I mean, I thought it was a little bit more than that. Even if it was 30 million, it's still a good purchase, right? Like
It's
so,
still a good purchase.
still a good purchase.
Their most expensive purchase was Isaac, and who has
Oh,
proven to be a good purchase for them.
yeah.
He happens to be injured right now, but still, that has proven to be a good purchase for them.
So I look at Newcastle a little bit, and I put them on a similar level, at least, to Arsenal and Tottenham, in this regard. So Arsenal and Tottenham can't compete financially with City, with Chelsea, with Manchester United in terms of what they could just pay people. The raw amount of money that they can pay to players or clubs
Weekly basis, you're talking about.
both with transfer fees and with weekly wages. City, United, Chelsea, they can pay whatever they want. Well, at least Chelsea have historically done this under Abramovich. I don't know if it's going to be true under Todd Bowley, but I mean, all indications are that Todd Bowley doesn't care about money, right? But to me, I get the feeling that Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool all try to maintain a certain wage structure. So like even though Erling Haaland only cost 65 million in transfer fee, yeah, big air quotes on 65 million. That's the fee that was paid by City to Dortmund. The rumor is that there was a lot more money exchanged between different parties for that transfer to go down. Like there's no way that Arsenal or Tottenham could compete with City in terms of weekly wages. So I think that Newcastle can compete because they've got unlimited Saudi money, right? You know, if they play their cards right and they do it correctly, then you can compete with unlimited money. But Newcastle is a harder sell than London or even Manchester because it's so much further north. The
It's
weather
it's
is
it's not that much harder sell than Manchester
I
City.
I I, I think it
It's
is.
not that much different. They're both very far north. I don't think Newcastle is that much further
It's
north
not. Yes,
latitudinally.
yes, I agree with you, but I think saying the city of Newcastle to me seems like a harder sell than the city of Manchester. At least at least from like a foreign player perspective. And so
The
that's why
comment was,
that's why I put them more on the Arsenal Tottenham level where like our teams can't compete financially, but we have London. London's a huge selling point.
but the comment goes back to Brighton, and I think what you're getting around to is that
Yeah.
that then makes them fall into the category of Villa, Villa, West Ham, Leicester,
Yeah.
those clubs that have spent money and will spend money to be right behind those clubs and will gladly take their place if they slip up
Yeah.
and have been glad to do so the past few years. Brighton are trying to be one of those, but don't necessarily have the funds to be
Yeah,
West
correct.
Ham, Villa, Leicester. They don't have the funds to do that.
Yeah.
That has been shown so far. We don't know that for sure, but that has been shown so far. They usually sell off their good players and then replace them with really smart, recruited,
Younger
cheap
players.
players,
Yeah.
younger players that are good. And we mentioned that in our preseason too. That Brighton loses their two best players, and then they just kind of move on, and they just seem to be good until Graham Potter left.
Yeah, and the question is how much of that was incumbent on Graham Potter?
Yeah,
How much did he grease those wheels and make sure that
yeah,
everything and I think I use Graham Potter kind of more universally in the his whole structure,
yeah.
because if he's got his whole staff with him and the
What?
recruitment guys and
Well, his structure today was a 3-8
yeah, his
or a 3-7 is
the
what he used today.
the lineup was really strange today. It was three center backs and like just like everybody else.
Pulisic and Sterling as the wingbacks. It was unique.
Yeah, yeah, certainly.
I mean, they got the result. So I mean,
Yeah.
you can't argue with the result, but
Nope. not in the
That
slightest.
was interesting.
But Zach, really appreciate the comment.
Yeah.
We love it. So definitely shoot us more of those guys, and we will get to them here. Let's quickly touch on uh, Steven Gerrard. We did mention it on yesterday's episode about Steven Gerrard. He's been sacked at Aston Villa. Unai Emery has been announced as his replacement. He will take over, I believe, November 1st as the Aston Villa coach. And so, I have a special, I have a soft spot in my heart for Unai Emery. I think that he got a raw deal at Arsenal. He was like 30 minutes away from, like, he was really close to winning Arsenal's first European Cup competition. We almost won the Europa League, lost to Chelsea. We finished 1 point out of the top 4 that season. So he, for all accounts, his first season was really good. I just think that he had too many cancers in the squad that he had to deal with between Ozil, Kolasinac, Aubameyang, just all of these really big personalities that when things went a little bit south for him, just piled on, and that didn't help him. But I really hope he does well. And will he be a good coach for Villa? I think it's yet to be seen. I think he is a good coach. Whether or not Villa have the tools that he needs, I wonder about. So
I think the thing about Villa is they have shown that they are willing to spend the money to get the players.
yeah,
If within reason. Like
yes,
they haven't gone all out, but they have shown the willingness to go get a player if they feel like that player will help
yeah,
and it's within their wheelhouse and it's not over budget. They'll
yeah,
go get them.
yeah,
They'll go get them.
yeah. And I think the perfect example of that is Steven Gerrard was a big proponent of bringing Philip Coutinho on, and
Yep.
they did it.
They
And they
went and
did it.
got him.
They would have got it permanently. So, I definitely think that Unai will be supported. Whether or not he'll have the time to really implement his style, and Unai Emery is kind of an interesting character because his style, he is one of the most pragmatic coaches. He will change and adjust all of his uh, style and his lineups and everything to make sure that it's right for this specific game. He's not beholden to one system, and so he is definitely super pragmatic. So I hope he does well. I hope he does well in every match except against Arsenal. So
I did see a funny graphic that Birmingham City put up that they were the only club. They were the only club in the Midlands with a manager.
oh, really?
Uh, because Villa was without a manager, Watford was without a manager, and I'm just trying to pull the other one. West Brom also
That's
without a manager.
that's
So
hilarious.
you had Wolves, West Brom, and Aston Villa without a manager, and Birmingham City tweeted that they were the only team in the Midlands with a manager, which
That's
was funny.
that's hilarious. Should other than so we alluded to this on the review episode as well about Jesse Marsh. We kind of feel like he's on a hot seat. Do you think anyone else is on a hot seat in the Premier League?
I just think it should be a lukewarm seat for our boy Jesse Marsh.
But
I just don't feel like we talked about it last episode. The style of play they're playing is
yeah,
conducive to scoring goals. They're just not.
yeah, he's definitely being let down by the production. But I kind of you have leads going down, don't you? Like you're.
No,
I thought you were.
absolutely
I thought you were
no.
feeling okay. No, but think about the feels. 2 weeks ago, think about
Oh,
the
the
feels.
feels. Oh,
The
the
feels. The
feels.
feels
Yeah,
right
it
now,
feels like they're going down.
right? So like you have to take into account the feels at this point, because even though you might not think they're going down at the beginning of the season, you know we've played 12 matches. Like that's important context. So
And in context, I did also have them going down in preseason. So,
oh
anyways,
man, that's.
my three on relegation preseason were Everton, Leeds, Bournemouth.
I
So
think
I am eating a lot of crow here.
I think I had Fulham, Bournemouth, or Fulham. No, I had Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth,
Nope. You
Fulham.
had Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth.
Yeah, so I knew Southampton. I know that I had picked Southampton. I still believe Southampton go down, but
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, the feels they're
yeah,
not feeling really good. Other than drawing Arsenal
I mean, that
at
was
St.
good.
Mary's.
That was good. Arsenal should have won, but we didn't. So that's good. But, we talked about, check out yesterday's review episode if you want to hear my thoughts on the Arsenal Southampton match.
Yeah, you want to check out? You want to check out Europe?
Yeah, let's do it. So today we had some Champions League matches played. We record this midweek, so we haven't seen all of the Champions League matches. So just kind of high level stuff. Chelsea have won their group, so congratulations to Chelsea. They move on. City have also won their group. That all happened today. Juventus have crashed out of the Champions League. They lost today against Benfica after having lost to Maccabi Haifa in match day 4. Things are not looking swell in Turin, but they languish on 3 points. There is still an opportunity for them to progress third in the group and drop into the Europa League. We'll see. We'll see if what happens there, because they play PSG in the final match week. Other big names, at least just the biggest name that will probably also drop into the Europa League, it looks like Barcelona will probably drop down tomorrow. They play Bayern Munich at home, and Inter play Pilsen. And if Inter beat Pilsen, or if Inter get a result, because I'm assuming Bayern's going to beat Barcelona. Maybe Barcelona win against Bayern, which seems unlikely, but maybe it happens. But they are not. Barcelona's not in a good shape. Other English teams, though, Liverpool and Spurs are both in good shape to progress. Both of them, though, precariously placed. Spurs are a little bit more. Are a little bit better placed than Liverpool. Liverpool will probably finish second in their group. Spurs certainly have a chance to win their group.
So remind me with the new format. So was it the round of 16? You finish the top. You skip a.
That's in the Europe, and that's in the Europa League. So in the Europa League,
Gotcha.
So let's flip down to the Europa League, because if we think about Arsenal and Manchester United, both of them are set to progress, but Arsenal look like they're going to win their group, and United look like they're going to finish second in their group. And finishing second in your group puts you into the round of 32 in the Europa League, and then you have the 8 teams that
So
drop.
they're getting Juve first round. Return of Pogba.
That's the meme, is that Pogba and Pogba's going to come back to Manchester United. So we'll see. Arsenal hopefully will get.
Let us know how Pogba's going to do against United in the round of 32.
He hasn't played yet for Juve because he's been injured. So
let us know how whoever your designated farmer or plumber is going to do.
Yeah. Farmer, plumber, ridiculous.
Electrician. I'm sorry, I forgot about the IBU, the the union employees. They've gotten Italy.
Last time I checked, about 2 weeks ago, I think West Ham were in a good position in the Conference League, but again, I did not Google it today, so
who cares?
Who cares?
Conference League is a made up.
You guys,
it's made up league.
Quickly going back to Spurs, you guys have Sporting tomorrow.
We have Sporting tomorrow.
Is that
in Portugal? I will resonate, and I wish I would have liked it or retweeted it so that I could go back and attribute this person. But I saw a tweet that resonated with me, and it took me back to a time in 2016-17 when we were shithousers, like 15, 16, 17. Dele Alli, Dyer, everybody full of testosterone. The tweet read something to this effect of, I hope everyone in that locker room is angry and they just come out and ragdoll Sporting. And I want it. Just every challenge, put your entire body into it, and just let them be. Even if it's a draw, even if it's a loss, they will wake up tomorrow remembering that they played Tottenham. That's the type of game I want to see.
Okay. I mean, if you guys play with good intensity, I feel like you guys have a chance to beat anybody. It just seems like sometimes in games you are a little bit too passive, and it's hard to flip that switch. So I think about Newcastle. Well, no, actually, let me think. I'll back it up against. I'll say that I have a better example against United. So you're kind of absorbing United. Lloris has a couple good saves, and then Fred has this goal, right? That's kind of outside of the box, like you talk about. It's just kind
Yeah.
of, but then it's hard to like turn it back on and chase the game at that point when your mentality has been absorb for so many minutes. Then
Yeah.
needing to flip the switch to go on attack and kind of impose yourself on the match is really difficult.
Yeah.
So if Spurs approach the match with more intensity and try to impose their will, I think that you guys can beat any of the big teams because you've shown that you have that capability. Your teams have your players have that capability over the last couple of years. But it's just a matter of doing it for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah,
I disagree with that sentiment of like we need one of those take us back to the old times, like show me you care game.
Yeah.
Like put a shoulder into somebody you wouldn't normally put a shoulder into. And I'm not saying injure anybody.
No.
Of course, I'm not calling for anybody from Sporting, but just be physical.
Yeah.
Be early to the ball and let them know that you're there first.
Yeah. Agreed. So, but that group is super tight. Spurs are still on first position on 7 points. Marseille and Sporting are both on 6 points. Frankfurt on 4. So every team is alive still in this group. Nobody's out. So definitely one to watch. Maybe this was the group of death. You never know.
It was the group of suck.
It was the group of suck. All right.
Formula One, you want to run down?
Do you want to give me a quick update on Formula One?
Yeah, Formula One sucks. Yeah,
right. Good talk,
dude.
Well done.
Just like, what do you want me to do with this, man? Like, let me get to it.
Well, okay. The big takeaway at Austin. So Max Verstappen wins in Austin. Red Bull secure the constructor title. Those are the big takeaways of the high level stuff in F1.
What do you want me to do when McLaren as a team have 138 points and Lando Norris has attributed 109 of those?
So that's an interesting race you got going on there because they are right on.
What do you want me to do?
Who are they right behind? They're right behind, is it
Alpine? We should not be right behind anybody if we had a competent fucking teammate.
But the Alpine driver got a 30-second penalty after the race.
Yeah, Alonso did.
And dropped out of the points, and that made that gap very significantly closer.
Right? It is 6 points.
Yeah, like that's and there's 2 races left. There's Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi.
Bahrain. Or Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Yeah.
Bahrain's the opening race, sorry. Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia, yeah. Jeddah.
Yeah.
So both are beautiful courses, by the way, if you've ever watched them.
Yeah.
Beautiful courses. No, it all it leaves is Lando looking like, well, if McLaren want to finish 4th, like we have been for the rest of ever, then I have to finish on the podium because Ricciardo is not scoring crap.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
I mean, if I was a McLaren fan, I would be upset too.
Thank you.
I'm just
and Mercedes suck. They're not catching Ferrari.
Maybe George Russell can take a couple people out again this week and get a 5-second penalty.
Well,
that sucks for Carlos Sainz.
It just takes everybody out.
Yeah, he does. There was a video after the race. Somebody asked Lewis Hamilton. He's like, did you see what happened to Carlos? And he's like, yeah. George took him out. It's just like so matter of fact.
Yeah.
But maybe so interesting. Lewis has won a race in every season for like the last 7 or 8 years, or maybe every season that he's been in Formula One. I forget exactly what the title is, but it's a long running standing. If he doesn't win one of the next 2 races, that streak will be broken. I was watching the tail end of the race when Lewis took the lead on like the 41st lap or the 42nd lap, and he was on hards. And then when Max came out on mediums, I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, well, Max is going to run him down. I was like, there's no way Max doesn't run him down. And it unfortunately happened. So that was a little disheartening as a Lewis Hamilton fan. But
yeah, Mercedes all year were battling the fact that they did not get the preseason right,
Yeah. Agreed.
and they did the best they could. I mean, Ferrari and Red Bull crushed the offseason, and Mercedes did not.
Yes.
And they battled it all season to finish third and really close to Ferrari. It's not even like a distant third. They're right there.
I
They're
mean,
just not. They're not going to pass Ferrari,
no,
but
it seems I forget exactly what the math would have to be, but Ferraris would have
yeah,
to have a
but
couple
essentially,
no pointers.
essentially two no pointers, and it would have to be like podiums for the Mercedes. It's is essentially
Which, to be fair, both Lewis and Russell have podiumed this year. So, like saying that Mercedes won't,
Mercedes have 14 podiums. I have it pulled up.
yeah.
That's
So
14 combined podiums. Yeah.
that's good, but
McLaren have one.
there you go.
I'll give you one silver guess of who it was.
I'm gonna go with Lando Norris.
Yes, thank you. You got it correct.
Uh,
Ridiculous, dude.
so I alluded.
Also,
Okay, go for it.
like before we leave Formula One,
Okay,
there were 14 drivers that podiumed last year.
okay.
14 different drivers
How
that
many?
podiumed last year.
How many this year?
4.
Wow, really? That's
4.
not right. No.
Yes, that is absolutely true. There was a Gasly podium last year. There was a Russell with Williams podium last year. There was a
But hold on. But
Lando Ricardo
the
won 2.
math doesn't check out because Carlos Sainz is podiumed, Lewis is podiumed, George Russell is podiumed, Lando Norris is podiumed.
I'm sorry. I'm on constructor. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me.
yeah.
All right. What? So there's 4 teams that have podiumed.
Now,
Oh, sorry. All
hold
right.
on.
So
Time
let
out.
me.
Last year, were there 14 teams that podiumed last year? No, that's not right either.
No. That's way too many teams.
Yeah.
So there were 14 drivers this
Yes.
year. 7.
Okay.
7.
I'll buy that.
7. That
makes
is still ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is just Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Lando.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's all. That's the 7.
Maybe next year.
I know those numbers go 15, 10, 9, 7, 8, 7, 1.
Yeah. It's been very top heavy this year. Very top heavy this year.
Yes. Which is unfortunate. I liked last year when it was mixing it up, chopping it up.
I liked last year until Michael Massey decided to give the title to Max.
Hey, what do you think about chess?
Yeah, I do want to give a quick chess update. It's been a while since we've had one, and
I want to pin you down. I want to have a chess maneuver called a pin.
Okay.
Because I texted this to the group chat and nobody answered. With the lawsuit of Neiman claiming that Hikaru, Magnus, and chess.com have defamed him.
Mm-hmm.
All of them have decided that any tournament that he is in, they will just simply not play in. Isn't that not defaming themselves?
I don't know.
They are defaming themselves because they don't want to play. They all they said is we are pretty sure that you're a cheater. We don't have any facts to back this up. We are just pretty sure that you're a cheater. So any tournament you're in, we won't be in. That is not defaming Neiman.
Well, I think it's implying that he's cheating. The implication is that he's cheating. I think Hans Niemann's bigger issue is that just the implication and the report that chess.com produced has made it so tournament organizers don't want to invite. They would rather invite Magnus Carlsen or Hikaru to a tournament and leave Hans Niemann out of it. And so he's limiting his ability to go to tournaments.
Maybe he shouldn't have cheated.
Okay, but is that your opinion, or do you have fact to back that up? That's what Hans Niemann's argument is.
Well, my argument is that he factually cheated online and has already served his penalty for it. So once a cheater, all is a cheater.
Agreed. I mean,
sorry.
He's admitted he cheated online. And so like that is established. But
It,
I think it'll be difficult for either party in this case. I'm not a lawyer. I can't speak specifically to it. But I think he'll have a hard time proving his case.
the,
But
the
I don't know.
the thing that resonated with me, it having played a lot of chess, and I'm sure you have too. In Magnus Carlsen's statement, he mentioned just moving a piece to see in a weird position to see the reaction, and Hazeneman didn't react at all.
Yeah,
To move at the grandmaster's level, to move an errant piece, you would elicit a reaction from someone
yeah,
over the board.
yep,
To have no reaction, to calmly move the next piece, is a tip off of something else is going on.
yeah. That's what it seems like. I mean, because the thing is that someone did like a statistical analysis of Hans Niemann's end games against Magnus, and Magnus Carlsen is widely believed to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, end game chess players of all
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And like I think that the statistical analysis showed that Hans Niemann had like some he had such a higher rate of perfect moves or like second best moves, like because when you compare them to the engine, like his rate of being perfect in endgame was much higher than Magnus's even and other players that play Magnus. And so like that's a statistical improbability is what people are suggesting. um
Someone that's like 19, 20 years old.
I mean,
And
regardldess of age, but
yeah,
like his
not to say there's
reading,
yeah,
his breadth of play, like
yeah.
it seems questionable. I am not so smart to be able to speak to these things, but like your point about Magnus moving a piece to gauge a reaction from someone to throw them off. This is something that Magnus has done, that Magnus does, and then his reaction, Hans Niemann's reaction, is to not
It's
even
nothing.
react. It does seem weird. So that's what I think that everyone's going to have a hard time here, proving anything, and assuming Hans Niemann wins his case. $400 million is an absolutely absurd amount of money for what he's alleging. But if you can't prove it, then whatever, get your money, bro.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
the only other chess update that I had is that the 2022 Fisher Random World Chess Championship has started. You got Magnus in it, Hikaru, Nepu, Wesley So, Blue Bomb, Fedorosiv, Gederson, and Nordabik all fighting for that title. I
These are
don't.
always fun, man. Is Hikaru streaming?
Well, I don't know if Hikaru is streaming it because it's World Chess Championship. Chess.com is streaming it. Um,
Well, just so you guys know, if Hikaru is not streaming it on Twitch, then Gotham Chess probably would be.
yeah.
So you can probably watch Hikaru or other
I'm sure.
games going on Gotham Chess.
I know that chess.com and I think chess24 might be streaming it and having commentary.
Yeah.
I'm sure Agamotto will have updates on it, and Agamotto's I like watching him. He's the guy that I stole the pause the video and make your prediction kind of thing from. That's 100% his shtick. Is that he'll like go through a game and then he'll be like, okay, we've got a really nice move coming up. Why don't you pause it, see if you see the move, and then he tells you what the move is. So, um, but yeah, so that's going on right now. We'll see who wins. Um, there, I didn't really understand necessarily what was going on in the standings right now, but check back and we'll have a result for you next week. Um, but I think that's it. I think that's all we got for the news tonight. Um, if you are still listening and you haven't hit the subscribe button, I think now is a beautiful time to do it. And I think you should hit the subscribe button and then hit the share button and share this with your best friend. Whether or not they like soccer or not, you should guilt them into watching it because they're your best friend. And why would you not guilt them into it? Right? Drop us a comment down below. Tell us what you were looking forward to, what you thought about the Champions League or chess or F1 or whatever. We'd love to hear from you guys. As always, that's at Whiteheart Sean. I'm at James Tiffany.
Underscore.
Whiteheart _ Sean. Excuse me. It's under his name. If you're on YouTube, it's written on the screen. but I didn't look at the screen. So, oops. I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively, we are at redcard_radio. Our third guy, Brad, you can annoy him. He's at KS Brad G and be like, bro, why don't you do the podcast anymore? Where you at, Brad? All those things. But until next time, check back Friday morning. We've got a preview of match week 14 coming up, 10 games in the Premier League, all this weekend, over 2 days, I think. Yeah, so check back on Friday. But until then, have a good one. Good night.